Hi everyone, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is James. Today we are going to be doing an unboxing of Soul Cards by Deborah Koff Chaplin. This is the first video that I'm recording for this channel. I don't think it'll be the first one that I'm going to upload, but I figured this would be an easier way to sort of get into the groove of filming and speaking, just because unboxings are pretty self-explanatory. So first we're going to look at the packaging. We have the Soul Cards. The first thing, I know that this package is meant to be sort of a display case for the cards, which is really helpful. They've been out for a number of years, I know that. I think since maybe the 80s or 90s, I'd have to go back and look. So in the back we have a nice little thing about the cards. There's 60 in this deck, and they are kind of meant for intuitive purposes. I know that the guidebook doesn't mention any definitions or keywords. The cards are not numbered, there's no writing, it's just the images, so I'm excited to take a look in and see what the cards are like. So just gonna unbox this. I think I don't even need the scissors. I apologize for the ambient noise. My fridge is really loud, but I'm going to try to edit some of that out to make it easier on you guys' ears. Just get that out of the way. Okay, so we have the display box. I guess this is where you're meant to kind of host a card or put it inside of this and then put it back in the box, which is helpful if you're using them for meditation purposes or in a practice or whatever it may be. So first we have, where is it? We have the book. It's not really a little white book, but little dark book, I guess. Pretty substantial, but I don't think there is much on any of the specific cards yet. It's all about ways to use them, reflection, contemplation, divination. So yeah, just different methods for working with the cards, and then we have a little bit about the author. I don't know, I think she's the artist and author, and her daughter designed some of them as well. Could be wrong. No, but she designed them. It was all through touch art, touch design, touch drawing, which is basically where they put paint and they put paper over it. You kind of like press the paper down over top of the paint, I believe, to create the image. So that's really interesting. I think there's a bit in the book on that. I'm just going to zoom you guys in so we can get a better look at the cards and you guys can actually see what we're talking about. Alright, I think we're alright. I thought it was farther back than it was. So I moved that out a little bit. And let's see, right off the bat, the cards are glossy. Pretty thick cardstock, but I don't think it's too stiff. So that's nice. Let's see. Make sure we're in focus. So we'll just start going through, making a little bit of a walkthrough. So first we have this one, like a child, sort of protective mother. Yeah. Very airy. A lot of feathers. Looks like a feather crown or headdress. This one reminds me of like the Queen of Swords. Looks like she's holding a sword, explaining something. Very evocative. Kind of reminds me of like a green man, green woman type energy. But the coloring's a lot different. Just that face coming through. Like an egg. Someone reaching around, kind of like out of his hands. Well, reminds me of like creation or something of that sort. Looks like she's holding something, we don't really know. Is it energy? Light? Is it just herself? Oh, this one's interesting. The swirl. Whether it's like a void or spinning outward, I don't know. Well, this is cool. One that kind of goes horizontal. It's interesting. I guess they aren't keeping to the structure, just making it vertical. I mean, you could look at it vertically thinking that that's coming from above. He's laying down, but it's also interesting to see it horizontally. Not quite sure what's coming out of the mouth. Looks like maybe a flower bud. Almost reminds me of like the coins you would put over someone's eyes when they've died for the ferryman, but there's only one and it's kind of opaque, going right over the forehead and nose area. Looks like angel wings. Looks like a staff at first, and then more like a tree. Seems to be like standing, waiting. Almost like the hermit. Like a journey. Oh, this one's cool. Very stark colors in this deck. Very cool tones. It blends together very well. But there's still a lot of contrast. It's not faded or anything like that. I don't know how it's showing up. I hope there's no glare. Very much like celebratory, the world coming together. There's a lot of different depictions in this deck that sort of seem to have different energies, very balanced, nothing that's so positive and uplifting. It's not going to show you something darker, but at the same time, it's not like a deep, dark, depressing slap in the face either. Like a void. This one's a lot more dramatic, sort of like dire compared to the other spiral, I think. I think if I were to put them side by side, this would be kind of the darker side to the other one. Huddled. I think he's given up. Oh, I like that. It's like calm and peaceful, but at the same time, you can't help but find it a little bit creepy. Like the crown made of smaller heads or souls or something like that. She seems very much at peace. And these guys don't really have much expression at all. I like this. The color tones on this one are a little bit more uplifting, lighter sky blues. Most of these people don't really have, it seems like, very defining features, very basic faces, basic bodies. Kind of like you could put anything in their place, kind of assign any meaning or image to it. I think that the brush strokes or the touch drawing kind of lends itself well to interpretive type meaning or intuitive reading. Of course, the fact that there's no numbers or keywords or anything like that also helps. I really like this one. It's beautiful. Like the waters of life trickling down, very eternal with this almost like a whirlpool. Palms open. Almost reminds me of the Lovers, with like usually that third character you get in the Lovers card, but instead of bringing them together, almost like blindfolding them, kind of like a blind date or something, or just not being able to fully see what's in front of you. Like a guardian angel, protector of some sort, just looking up, almost like they're melded together. Very cosmic with the stars. Another one that goes vertical, so that's really interesting. And it goes upside down, and you can kind of take it either way. I think the backs are, if they're not reversible, it's very hard to tell what's what. Yeah, I don't think that they are reversible, but as far as telling which way would be up versus down is pretty impossible, at least for me. And I know Soul Cards 2 has a different color back. I have ordered that one, but I figured I would just unbox this one, or else the video would get way too long. And Soul Cards 2 is still in the mail, so we shall see. Maybe I'll do a review on both of them together, because I do plan to use them together. But yeah, that's interesting. Very much like the sun or a flower. Very peaceful, hopeful, radiant. It's like an Olympian or something, like an athlete. Like a road, jumping. I like this. I think we've seen kind of leaf pattern throughout. I wonder if she either put that underneath the paper with the paint to kind of make it come through, or how you go about doing that. I'm not familiar with touch art at all, but it's very interesting how she made that come through. I like the kind of double meaning that you can draw from a lot of these cards. Like, is she releasing something, or is she containing it or drawing it in? It's hard to tell, and kind of, I think, is open to the circumstance. I mean, sometimes I might want to see it one way or the other, which is interesting. Keep saying interesting. Try to stop with that one. The swirls. So there's a lot of spiraling and swirling. Not sure what is influencing that. I mean, there's a lot of meaning to be drawn from swirls and spirals, for sure. So I'm not complaining, but I'm just curious. Very longing. Kind of like that. Looks like a little bit like a crescent moon. Almost like the person is poised in a way that makes them look a little bit like a bird with wings, yelling into the abyss. The abyss is very light. Very Empress-like. Birth, abundance, creation. I like the duality. It kind of seems like, I mean, although there's not many features to kind of tell us about them, it seems like this would be the man and this is a woman. Although they've given him a beard, and it's hard to tell if she has any sort of hair. Not that that's defining. I mean, anatomically speaking, they seem to be a man and woman. And there's also sort of this multi-handedness going on that we saw earlier. I wonder what that's about. Although we can only truly tell that these are hers. We aren't sure. Maybe there's someone behind her. It seems like that could be the case. The artwork is stunning. It almost seems like a mix of like acrylic and watercolor. And just when you think you've gotten sort of the certain style down, as you're looking through it, you get a card that kind of breaks from the norm, which I like. This is very, very stark with the contrast. Even sigils. I think this is the first time we've seen anything so finely detailed like that, but it's very different. Grab this one, very fairy-like with the eyes and the face, almost like a child, but not. That's what I'm tempted to see, at least. More leaf pattern, very blue, gray. I feel like color plays a big role in this deck and how you interpret it. Because if we were to take colors from this, translate it, I definitely think of this card a lot differently than with the grays and blues and greens that are in it. Like this, with an intense shadow behind her. And then where we get the sort of vibrancy is this like almost like a force or energy, life, like in the facial expression. And then we've got some positivity here, very light green background, and very the pose is very much like she's dancing. I like that. The yellow, kind of like a halo. And the way that lines sort of play a role in this is also extremely important, I think. Just the way we saw the swirls, the leaf patterns, and in some areas it seems so organic with the way that the painting was done, but in others it's so deliberate and so sharp, almost to like create a sort of sensation. So if anybody feel like very much uses a sensory experience to stimulate feelings or intuitive senses. So for people out there who are very much interested in sort of like an experimental type style, I know this deck's been out for a while, so I'm sure many of you have either heard of it or have it, but I'm liking it a lot more now in person than I even was when I was watching the videos, and I really enjoyed watching others speak about the images and how they felt and doing walkthroughs. So yeah, it's just a really great one. I know I'm going to use it a lot. Again, with some of like the more detailed work, like the very, very, very fine lines, almost reminds me a lot of that sigil card that we saw, that sort of sigil going on. And the face seems to be a lot more detailed here. We even get the Cupid's bow, the shadows, the nostrils, the shape of the lip, and the type of chin. It's a lot more, kind of reminds you also of like Galaxy, but not quite, very otherworldly. So I couldn't really pin like a style to this, like earthy or airy, or because every card is just so different. It's very, very balanced. So light, one of the more bright cards of the deck. Very ethereal. There's something super familiar, but at the same time detached and foreign about the artwork and the deck itself. It's like you can see things in it and feel things from it, but at the same time, when you really consciously start to let yourself think about it, it's almost confusing. Alright, so I want to apologize. I am new to this, and I didn't realize that I had reached the 20-minute mark, which is the amount that this camera allows me to record in a single clip. So I'd made it through about, I believe, 80%, maybe more of the deck, basically the majority. I tried to go back and figure out which cards I'd already shown, but it was really difficult to pretty much, after I'd shuffled, after the video had cut out, I'd shuffled and talked about how it shuffles, and then I'd drawn a random card for you guys. I do remember this was the last card, and I kind of spoke on how there's probably no significance just because this deck is kind of meant to be very equal. There's no cards that are supposed to be of greater importance. It's very much supposed to be based on what you think and feel. But yeah, I'd gone through pretty much most of the deck, so I guess we can leave a little bit to the imagination or a surprise for those of you who might want to get the deck. So I guess I'll just pick up from where I'd ended with the last card. So this was the final card. I was just talking about how the card stock is pretty glossy, but it doesn't seem to stick together. It shuffles pretty well. They do kind of sort of not like to fan out. They don't stick, but they don't glide over each other very easily either, which might change over time. But I'm not one to fan the cards when I do readings or pick at random. So we'll just shuffle them and pull a card randomly, then maybe have another deeper look into the guidebook. Sorry, I might have just bumped the camera. So yeah, it rifles pretty well, but I mean, I'm not one to bridge, but I usually kind of slide them together, and they will take some time, I think, before they sort of like doing that easily, unless you kind of, I think it's fanning powder, or just take powder, kind of something to kind of have them slide together more easily. Pretty thick deck. I'm sure with the Oracle cards too, it'd be really like a substantial deck. I mean, I'm not sure. I think Oracle cards, I mean, not Oracle cards, Soul Cards 2 is 60 cards as well, so it'd be pretty big. Yeah, so we gave it a shuffle. Let's see what we get. So I believe this was the first card of the deck, that one that kind of looks like a mother and child, or kind of like a youthful figure and a protector. There's almost sort of a leaf that goes above to kind of protect them from the rain. We've got a flower coming up, hasn't quite bloomed yet, and there's a very sort of loving gesture kind of holding the child in. Kind of seems like you get a lot more expression off the child than you do the protector or the mother or whoever it may be. I'd kind of take that as shelter, respite, time away, maybe someone looking over your shoulder, help. Things maybe not being as bad as they seem, potentially in a reading as curiosity, the child, potentially untamed or harmful curiosity, but it does seem like she's got a good handle on him. So yeah, very interesting deck. I will have to see how it kind of reads and plays out over time, and I'll get back to you guys on more of that, probably with a review that entails the Soul Cards too, so you guys can get an idea of how they play together, because I know that's kind of how they are intended. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, I guess. Not really sure how to go about ending these videos, but let me know down below what you guys are hoping to see. More talking videos, things where I'm chatting about decks or random life topics, sort of working through ideas, theories, whatever it may be. I'm very much open to suggestion, kind of looking for direction, although I do think I want to include these sort of more tarot and oracle type technical videos for people who are interested in that, just because I am. So have a nice day, and thanks for watching.